Good evening. I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Tonight. Two Stockton parents accused of killing their 2-year-old child face a judge. Shocked neighbors tell us they had no idea the girl existed. Then a blast at a construction site leads to thousands of dollars in damage to nearby homes. Plus, a cafe in Sacramento is changing lives. How it's removing barriers to help employees with disabilities. ABC10 Tonight starts now.
Two Stockton parents are behind bars tonight, accused of abusing and killing their 2-year-old child.
The accused killers appeared in court this afternoon for the first time since the crime, which left a community in shock. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras was at court today and joins us live now in Stockton. A tragic story, Gabriel. What have you learned?
Tragedy indeed. It was at this apartment unit right behind me where 2-year-old Jocelyn Ornelas was found early Monday morning. It was neighbors who set up that candle there and planned a candlelit vigil expected to start very soon here. Neighbors are also among the people filling the seats at San Joaquin County Courthouse earlier today, pleading that justice is served. Using her shackled hands to wipe away tears, accused killer Jessica Chavez and her emotionless husband turned co-defendant Gregorio Ornelas faced their charges in court Wednesday.
Child abuse resulting in death. Count 3 is torture.
Charges that include child abuse causing bodily injury, child abuse resulting in death, torture, and second-degree murder of their 2-year-old child, Jocelyn Ornelas.
This is a 2-year-old child who had no one to fight for her, and we're still waiting on the autopsy results, but it's apparently clear this child starved.
Neither parent entered a plea, but both were told they would be appointed an attorney.
From the information we have in this case, most, if not all, of her neighbors were unaware of her very existence.
Neighbors on Oak Street in downtown Stockton, like Karen Smith.
I saw the little boys all the time. I never saw the little girl. Didn't know she had a girl, but that's because she kept her in the house.
Those two other children now in the custody of CPS.
I've seen her in passing, yeah, drinking a lot, yeah, but I would just say weird. And I don't mean to, judge nobody, but yeah, it was kind of strange.
Neighbors now left heartbroken and wondering how such evil could happen so close to home.
And right now, when I still think about it, I get teary-eyed because you could have gave that child to somebody. I would have babysit the kids if the pressure was that bad on you. She's with God now, so she doesn't have to suffer.
And talking to neighbors out here, many felt almost obligated to share their stories today because they said they want anyone who is in a similar situation to see this and seek help. They can only wish that would have happened in this case instead of tragedy. The next court date is September 26th. Live in Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
My goodness, such a disturbing story. We'll be following their next day in court. Gabriel, thank you.
Residents of a Folsom community say they fear for their safety after a nearby construction site sent a blast of rocks right onto their roofs and driveways.
Yeah, it happened in the Russell Ranch community on Monday. Families were even home at the time. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias spoke to concerned neighbors today.
This one sounded extremely different. It was like a very loud bang. It sounded like something had slammed into my wall.
For the past few weeks, Patricio Pace has been hearing the blasts coming from the construction of a new home development near his Russell Ranch community in Folsom. He says they usually happen 2 to 3 times a week with a few seconds of rumble. But Monday afternoon, the blast sent rocks flying near multiple homes.
Rocks fell in front of the house and on the top of the roof, and some fell in our neighbor's home. It even fell in front of the garage. And in one of our neighbor's home, there's a hole on the top of their roof.
A large rock also fell through the roof of the clubhouse, causing extensive damage to bathroom stalls. Pace says he found this rock behind his home just a few feet away from his family pool. He's been helping neighbors assess the damage by using a drone to take images from up above.
And now there's safety concerns, like someone could have been really badly injured or even died. And so we all have kids in this neighborhood. People are out and about at all hours of the day, and we want to make sure the community is safe first and foremost before any activity resumes.
We reached out to the developer, Elliott Holmes. They didn't comment and directed us to Neil's Controlled Blasting, who said, "The investigation is currently ongoing. We presently do not have sufficient information to respond to any inquiries. Our insurance company is contacting all affected homeowners." The city of Folsom tells ABC10 the contractor is instructed to cease and desist until a full assessment can be made and an updated operations and safety plan is reviewed and approved.
So I think that is something that should be paid for either by the subcontractor or the builder. They should be doing damage assessments for the entire area that was affected, not just the ones that have obvious damage, because we don't know what really was damaged.
In Folsom, Roxanne Elias, ABC10.
Wow, just so thankful no one was hurt. Now, many of the residents say no one has reached out to them about the damage left behind, and those who have called say they're still waiting for a call back.
On this day 23 years ago, America changed forever. Terrorists linked to the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes, killing nearly 3,000 people. The planes crashed into the Twin Towers in New York, the Pentagon near Washington, and a field in southwest Pennsylvania.
America will never forget the lives lost. Fire departments came together today to honor the firefighters who responded after the attack on the World Trade Center. ABC10's Candace Red has more on how we are remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
343 firefighters from across Northern California are remembering and honoring the lives lost on 9/11 back in 2001. A 9/11 memorial stair climb was held this morning at the Esquire Tower in downtown Sacramento. Firefighters climbed 110 stories at the building while wearing fire gear and the names of fallen firefighters from the New York City Fire Department. These first responders risked their own lives to save others at the World Trade Center towers. During the memorial stair climb, firefighters explained just how important this ceremony is to them and how they'll never forget that tragic day.
Everyone knows exactly what they were doing in that moment in time back in 2001. I was working at a grocery store trying to get onto the fire service, taking classes, and everyone just paused in the store. We turned the TVs on. The newspapers came in that afternoon of what happened. So you always just vividly remember that day. And for our members to be able to climb 110 flights of stairs and honor those members that are fallen just means a lot to the fire service.
It's challenging, but the whole time that you're walking up or going up every single stair, you put yourself in the shoes of the folks that made those climbs and didn't come home. We have the opportunity to wake up every day, and some people, those folks that responded didn't. So we look forward to it every year, and it's an honor to do it as well.
The 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb is held every year in Sacramento with 343 firefighters. Dozens of other firefighters go on a standby list. Well, the event raises money for the New York City Fire Department's Widow and Orphans Fund to support families of fallen firefighters. The stair climb ended this morning with firefighters placing the names of fallen firefighters from 9/11 at the top of the building and then ringing a bell. Firefighters say it's a humbling experience. In Sacramento, Candace Red, ABC10.
Today marks 23 years since the September 11th terror attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. Terrorists hijacked 4 airplanes and killed nearly 3,000 people. Most Americans have a vivid memory of where they were or what they were doing on the day that America was attacked, especially the first responders who got the call to head to New York, like former Sacramento Metro Fire Department Chief Rick Martinez. 23 years later, he says that there are moments he will never forget.
New York City, September 11th, 2001. In California, firefighter Rick Martinez was still asleep when he heard his pager.
I remember reading it 3 times. I said, this is somebody who ever entered it got it wrong. It said, 2 planes have struck both towers of the World Trade Center, called the National Watch Center.
American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, another plane hit the South Tower. At the time, Martinez was the chief of the Metro Fire Department and part of FEMA's Urban Search and Rescue team.
I called the National Watch Center, and the person I talked to was someone I knew. He just said, turn on the television.
He knew he would be heading to New York.
The whole building has collapsed.
A huge explosion! Standing there in front of the World Trade Center, and the devastation was significant. Everything was larger than life.
Search and rescue. Their mission was clear, but the debris and smoke clouded their long days looking for survivors.
The sun was pretty much shrouded in this orange hue. The debris pile was significant. I mean, it was 10 stories tall of just wrecked fire engines.
The wreckage telling a story Martinez would never find answers to.
I think the thing that really impacted me the most were the twisted fire apparatus. Lots of fire engines and fire trucks, ambulance command cars that were just twisted and damaged. And, you know, because that's kind of our base that we operate as firefighters. You think about the people that were riding on them.
A thought he couldn't escape even in the few moments he had alone.
And it isn't really until you get some rest and a decent meal, a lot of it sinks in. I mean, it was just emotionally taxing.
For 2 weeks, Martinez and his team of first responders combed through the debris.
We did not find any live victims, which leaves you with a sense of failure in some respects. There definitely was an emotional feel. We had lots of firefighters, lots of New York firefighters that were looking for their friends, lots of relatives.
Nearly 3,000 lives were lost in the deadliest terrorist attack on American soil.
One of the things that came out of 9/11 is there was a great deal of unity, civility, and support. I think that's really important not to lose sight of.
Over the last 30 years, Martinez has continued to dedicate his life and experience to help injured firefighters and rebuild communities that have gone through disasters, most recently assisting with search and rescue efforts in Maui.
I was born and raised in Sacramento. I'm very proud of that. When I've gone on deployments, I like to think that not only am I representing Sacramento, but Sacramento is lending a hand to those communities in need.
Let's bring in Monica because I know it has been a fairly inactive season, but things seem to be kicking into high gear now.
Oh, that's a good point. This storm was fast moving, right?
It certainly was, and it gained steam overnight. It was a Category 1 when we were on the air at 11 p.m., and then overnight became that Category 2 storm. As we mentioned, it is making its way inland at this hour, but the damage is not done yet. It's still that Category 1 storm. It is going to lose some steam as it moves inland, but the potential for flooding exists all through tonight and even into our Friday forecast, because you can see the trajectory is going to keep it lingering Thursday into Friday and through parts of the southeast. Closer to home, weather impact headlines. We're going to be closer to average temperatures, but we are tracking more fire danger, plus the chance for rain and snow. We are in that transition season right now. Right now in the Big Mountain backyard, temperatures holding in the mid-80s in the valley with sunny skies. Tahoe currently at 62 degrees. Still have that red flag warning east of the crest because of this. Wind gusts are still exceeding 20 to 25 miles per hour. A little closer to that Davis fire just off to the east of Incline Village. We've seen wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. So the winds back off only temporarily for tonight. And then we start to see a transition during the day tomorrow as we kind of get in between two weather systems. More of a northwest wind right through the valley, dry, warming winds, and a brief period of increased fire weather danger. As far as our breezy and warmer weather, you can see those temperatures are back into the upper 80s to low 90s for tomorrow. There's those northwest winds right there. Sunrise 6:45, our sunset at 7:18. Now we've got a couple of weather systems that look pretty impressive here brewing in the Pacific. They're going to become part of the forecast early next week. We're going to be tracking it all. But now is the time to get that weekend ready, our plans in order, because these temperatures are going to be ideal. Low 90s Friday and Saturday, low 80s on Sunday as we await the chance for showers coming our way early next week. Here comes the low. It's going to come inland by the time we get into next Monday. Perhaps you got some patio furniture outside. You don't want to get wet, all those summer things that you don't really have to worry about the rain. Well, we're going to see at least the chance of it on Monday. And then the Wednesday storm system does look like it's going to be hugging a little bit more towards the eastern side of the state. Now, this is really early in the game, but just want to give you a heads up. Things are changing in the 10-day forecast. Highs for tomorrow close to 70 up top or in the 80s for much of the foothills. Across the coast, highs are going to be in the 70s with inland areas reporting highs in the 80s to right around 90. We're going to be closer to 90 throughout much of the valley for tomorrow. Just a brief warm up here with those northwest winds that'll stay in place through Friday. We start to see the cooler weather arrive on Sunday, and again, we'll have that chance of regional showers on Monday. Mix of sun and clouds along the coast with highs in the 60s and low 70s. 3-day forecast, we're near 90 Thursday through Saturday. We start to see the cooler weather arrive on Sunday with that chance of showers and highs in the 70s to start off next week.
It is 6:32. Reactions still coming in after last night's debate between Vice President Harris and former President Trump. To help us break down everything, political analyst Steve Swat. Steve, we rely on your observations, your counsel in matters like this. So you watched, a lot of people watched it. It was must-see TV. What's your immediate takeaway after it ended?
Well, it certainly was good political theater. And now, if you go back to 1960, when the first televised debates happened, ever since, these debates have been about style as well as substance. And they usually don't move the needle very much at all. One major exception, of course, being that June 27th debate where President Biden imploded.
That moved the needle.
That definitely moved the needle. Yeah. But what happens is that you take your personal biases in with you as you watch this debate. And so the arguments reinforce those biases. So people hear what they want to hear and then ignore the rest.
Well, so let me ask you that. You have people who are already locked in on what they're going to do. Some people saying that Harris got the better of Donald Trump in that. Does it really matter? Because you're trying to reach those small undecideds. Were the undecideds, do you think, moved at all last night?
Well, we don't know that yet. We'll find out in a couple of days when the polling comes out. But what was really interesting is that the day of the debate, a poll came out that indicated 30% of viewers wanted to learn more about Kamala Harris.
Okay.
And so that obviously was an opportunity for her, but also a risk for her. And I think she acquitted herself very well. She came across as very dynamic, as aspirational, as she kept her composure, like when former President Trump called her
a Marxist.
A Marxist who hates America. And so she did a very good job. And so if there were people on the fence, maybe she picks up 1% or 2%. But in a contest that is a dead heat, that's important.
I would say the first 20 minutes was tit for tat. They were going back and forth. And then it seemed that the President Trump sort of went off the rails a little bit over the Haitian immigrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. It seemed then that he moved into a different headspace at that point.
Well, it's interesting because he had, 3 big issues that he wanted to get across, I think. One was the fracking issue, especially in Pennsylvania, where she was against it and now she's for it. And he talked about the inconsistency. Then there was the border, and I think he undercut his arguments when, with hyperbole. President Trump, hyperbole? Oh, yeah. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But when he's talking about millions of people, basically murderers and rapists and, coming into this country, and then he throws out this story about the Haitian immigrants eating cats and had to be fact-checked on that. I think that undercuts his argument. On inflation also, on several occasions he said inflation under Biden-Harris was the worst in U.S. history. Well, it wasn't the worst in U.S. history. Yes, it's bad, but some old-timers like me remember the last few years of the Carter administration when inflation was like twice as much. And so I think he undercut himself a little bit. And then he felt he fell for some of her tricks, shall we say. She mentions crowds. She mentions crowd size, and he has to start talking about crowd size.
Well, he mentioned at one point that she was having people bust in, and that her crowd sizes weren't that big. I mean, you can watch a Harris appearance and see that there are a fair amount of people there, and make your own determinations as to the size of all that. Do you feel they'll debate again?
My guess is no. Harris said after this debate, she felt she did so well, yeah, let's debate again. I don't think she needs to necessarily now. I think she has introduced herself pretty well to the American public. He might feel that maybe he needs a second chance, but my guess is they'll argue over some issues, and we probably won't see another debate.
But at this point in time, even though some say she may have won the debate, this is still anybody's race.
Oh,
He
yeah.
could very easily be the next president.
That's right.
Easily.
And some prognosticators, at least before the debate, were saying, yes, he should be favored.
Well, last night's debate is going to be yesterday's news, starting maybe tomorrow. So we'll have to see what comes up going forward as we get moving through this campaign.
New at 6, a cafe in Sacramento is making a difference in the community, employing people with intellectual disabilities who might otherwise have difficulties finding jobs.
Yeah, ABC 10's Alicia Machado has more on what this opportunity means to those employees.
A cafe in Sacramento is changing lives, one latte and pastry
Sounds good.
at a time.
It's a lovely place. I'm blessed to be having a job here.
Tynum Spalding from Davis works at Purple Tree Cafe inside the UC Davis Mind Institute. He rings up orders and washes dishes at the shop that offers coffee, tea, and vegan baked goods. But his favorite part is serving customers.
It makes me happy because I'm very outgoing. I like to talk to people and I like to make new friends.
And this.
Getting discounts on the coffee drinks and the treats.
And who doesn't love a good discount? But what makes Purple Tree Cafe different is their mission to promote an inclusive community and workplace, one where Tynum and his coworkers thrive.
I have a disability called high-functioning autism. It's like basically there's some stuff I need help with and stuff, and I get support on things I need help with.
Established in 2018, the nonprofit has been providing employment for people with neurodevelopmental challenges. It started out with a stall at the Davis Farmers Market and other events, making baked goods out of their commissary kitchen in Davis. The Sacramento shop is their first brick-and-mortar cafe, opening in April 2024. The Mind Institute inviting Purple Tree Cafe to use the space after the pandemic.
You know, disability is another form of diversity, and we're always striving to be more inclusive.
Associate Director Kelsey Fortune says through the Sacramento Cafe, the nonprofit has more than doubled the employment opportunities for people with disabilities.
It's totally changed my life, and I'm lucky enough to get to be a part of seeing the employees' lives be changed as well. People who may not ever have luck in the competitive labor market without somebody giving them a chance.
They're hoping to normalize having a disability in the workplace. Here, offering supported employment where supervisory staff help employees with tasks when needed. And for staff like B. Bastino from Woodland, who's been with them since the beginning, that means a lot.
I feel like I fit in because we can be ourselves.
A place the Mind Institute hopes will set an example for others in the future. In Sacramento, Alicia Machado, ABC 10.
What a great idea. That cafe is open to the public Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. It's on 50th Street in Sacramento.
Hey, I'm Kevin John. When it comes to some of the best prep athletes in the Sacramento area, they all share one thing in common: Gamefit, a local athletic center dedicated to the development of athletes and pushing them to succeed.
They all come from different walks of life and different high schools: Del Oro, Granite Bay, Folsom, and Rockland, to name a few.
I've been coming to Gamefit for about 7-8 years now. I got more mature coming here because of Lim. My football game has grown too. And it's just made me a better person overall.
It's definitely helped me a lot. You know, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't even know I was going to be a college athlete, you know, coming here. I just kind of was like, oh, I want to get better at football, you know.
I think it's like been a good development. Like I feel like I became a better person, like just being around everybody.
Just it's a tight-knit community of guys here, like all the athletes, like we're all here to make each other better.
It's like a family here. So you see how these people treat you here, and you see how they want to see you keep working. They always want to push you to be better.
Gamefit has been in existence for 12 years, and it was founded by former college and arena football player Lim Adams.
We've established not only successful athletes, but we've established successful people. I mean, we've been able to transform kids who came in here not confident, low academic standards, low grades, didn't believe in themselves, who now are some of not only the best athletes, but best student athletes, best kids, best students.
Tough one right here. Ball. Lem's a really special guy, you know. He's helped me out a lot over this whole entire process.
Lem's a great trainer, like everything. Like Lem get you better at anything you want to do.
He's like a big piece in my whole football journey, like since I was a little kid to now.
I look at him as like a family member, like Lim's like my uncle. Probably the most impactful thing I've learned from Lim is just like to keep going, don't quit.
There's so much more that these kids want to accomplish for themselves, and as long as I'm able to do it and be part of it, you know, I'm gonna keep grinding it out.
Who's the best athlete in here right now?
I can't answer that question. We're all good athletes. On the low, it's me.
This coming Friday, a local Sacramento high school is going to continue with an event they've been holding for over 3 decades.
We are talking about the Christian Brothers Extravaganza. ABC 10's Marcus Allen is at the school with a preview of the festivities, and I see behind you a charcuterie board.
Yeah, they're already setting up. The charcuterie board, wine and cheese, all kinds of things taking place near and dear to my heart. You guys know, like you said, 3 decades. I don't mind sounding ancient when I say when I first moved up from Southern California, the first event they had me host on the radio was the 1987 first version of this that was much smaller and held back there. Now, it's an extravaganza. Laurel Herrera, you are kind of in charge of getting the word out there. By the way, her father-in-law, legendary newsman Tim Herrera, shout out Tim. And your other half graduate here.
Absolutely. So Christian Brothers is a very great community, and this event makes part of that possible. This is our 35th year, as we said. It started out as a wine tasting, and now it's become so much more. So it really is a festival of food, drink, wine, cider, live music, a whiskey and cigar bar, and all of that is in support of need-based tuition assistance for students here at Christian Brothers.
Yeah, it's so awesome. If you go on to get tickets on the website, like there are so many vendors here, like there is not going to be a single space here that doesn't have music and food and beverage going on and open to everybody. In fact, I tell people this is one of the best parties, whether you know someone here or not.
Absolutely. It is a party for everybody. We call it Sacramento's Party with a Purpose, not just Christian Brothers.
That's awesome. Looking at years gone by, and again, it goes to benefit people that might not otherwise have opportunity.
Absolutely. So our tuition assistance is for over 46% of our student body, and we give over $3.3 million a year.
That's awesome. Yeah, over the shoulders, charcuterie was mentioned earlier, so let's get to it. T-Bones. If you're anywhere in the area, you've probably had amazing catering from T-Bones. Tracy Mendoza, class of 1993. Also, City of Roseville. What position have you served proudly for? You're going on your second term?
Second term, Roseville City Councilman.
Awesome. And long before that, you know, served in Special Forces for 11 years, so thank you for your service there. Thank you for your service here. You're going to be serving up wine and cheese.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are going to be serving some amazing things on Friday. Build your own charcuterie cups. So what we have here is an example of what you could find here on Friday. Go ahead and pick your cup or your cone. We build it for you. You walk around, enjoy some wine, enjoy some cigars, enjoy some other vendors, and just have a good time.
Awesome. When you said grab a cup or cone, I know you're talking to the audience at large in general, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab a cup and grab a cone. So you started doing barbecue. Charcuterie is like blowing up.
It is. It is super popular right now, and what's great about it is it's versatile. So we can make this wine and cheese charcuterie. We could switch this out to a mac and cheese bar, mashed potato bar. This could also become a mimosa bar. You know, the opportunities are endless.
You've said it all. Hey, you guys back at the station,
Yeah.
Any questions? Have I left any stone unturned about this, the biggest event of the century?
How many people do they generally get, Mark, for the event? It keeps getting better every year.
That's a good question, Walt. My guess is about 30,000. I don't know. How many people actually come to this event?
About 2,000 people.
2,000 people,
Wow.
which has grown because I think it was about 100 people the first year. So it is awesome. Wine, cheese, and amazing music. Christian Brothers 35th annual. Back to you.
Yeah, I remember Ms. Herrera there next to you when she was just a little bitty, working with her dad years ago. So tell them all I said hi. And the Holy Bowl is Saturday. Christian Brothers against Jesuit at Hughes Stadium. Holy Bowl weekend is huge for Christian Brothers and Jesuits. So
That's right.
That'll be a big crowd too. Okay, that's sort of the tailgate party, the
So if
pregame.
you want to attend,
Let's count that as the pregame on Friday, and then the big game, Holy Bowl, on Saturday. Details?
and if you want to go and have some fun, here are the details. The Christian Brothers Extravaganza is happening this Friday at the school. It starts at 7 p.m. The event is 21 and up. Tickets are available. We have a link on ABC10.com.
Thank you for watching ABC 10 Tonight. Remember, we're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus app, where you can always get your news and weather anytime, anywhere.